Protests, riots, looting, and violent crime have surged since George Floyd was killed in Minneapolis. This was 1 year ago today. Since then, the defund the police movement has gained traction in police departments in New York, Washington, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Minneapolis, Seattle, Portland, Atlanta, Philadelphia, Baltimore, and other smaller cities have been defunded by their city councils. I moved through them quick because there are so many of them there. Hard to believe, but the George Floyd police reform bill, as you may have heard of, is in the hands of the Senate. In the meantime, murder rates have soared as well. But all violence has escalated. A recent CNN headline reads, "The U.S. saw significant crime rise across major cities in 2020, and it's not letting up." But White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki said this when asked if the country had a crime problem.
A look back over the weekend and over the last year, this past weekend there were more than a dozen mass shootings across this country. 4,000 more people shot and killed by guns in 2020 compared to the year before. Is there a crime problem in this country?
Well, I would say certainly there is a guns problem, and that's something the president would say.
Certainly is a gun problem. Let's welcome in Bill Pepitone, retired from the NYPD and currently a candidate for mayor of New York City. Bill, good to see you back here. I want to ask you about your response on this from the White House. Remember, the White House speaks for the administration there. Guns are the issue when asked if violence is an issue in this country. Do you believe that? Does this country have a gun problem?
This country has a crime problem and a weak politician problem. Our politicians, our elected officials, all the way up to the White House, are ignoring the facts. The facts are this: criminals do not care about gun laws. New York City has some of the toughest gun laws in the country, if not the toughest. It's virtually impossible for a law-abiding citizen to get a carry permit, to carry a legal firearm. Yet, shootings have skyrocketed over the past year. Violent crime is up 81%. It's not about the guns, no matter what the politicians tell you. It's about the person holding the gun, the criminal holding the gun, and the criminal pulling the trigger.
Yeah, you bring up an excellent point. If anyone moves to the city, they look up how to maybe they want to purchase a firearm. It's almost impossible, if not impossible, to get one legally. And that's the issue that you're pointing at, and that's not wrong. Many critics also point that the media, the left particularly, have demonized police the past year. What are your thoughts on that as we see retirement rates go up, folks wanting to sign up to be a part of the force? There's not a lot of enthusiasm for that. How do you change that? Does that need to be changed to keep people still serving and to get people to sign up to serve?
Oh, it certainly has to be changed, and it has to be changed from the leadership on down. We have a recruitment and retention problem here in New York City with the NYPD because morale has never been lower. We have a mayor who has not supported the police since day one. We have a city council which has enacted legislation that makes police officers' job impossible to do. A New York City police officer cannot effect the arrest of a non-compliant subject right now because of the diaphragm law, because of the revocation of qualified immunity. Police officers are afraid of losing their job or being indicted just for doing their job, working within the scope of their employment in good faith, protecting the citizens of the city. It's a dangerous, dangerous mix. And because of the rhetoric and the inflammatory rhetoric and the lack of leadership from our local politicians all the way to the White House, the crime problem is out of control. As we said before, shootings have skyrocketed, violent crime is up, criminals are pushing people in front of subways every single day, hate crimes are on the rise here in the city. The inflammatory rhetoric has to end. Our leaders need to lead and stop pushing their liberal progressive agenda because it's costing lives. These are lives. These are real lives and real people who will be affected every day.
I'm just curious, Bill, is this one of the reasons why you decided to run for mayor in New York? Is it the crime? Is that what you plan to fight against?
It is the absolute number one reason I decided to run for mayor here in New York City. As a New York City police officer for 20 years, I stood on the front lines with my brothers and sisters in that blue uniform. And I worked through the Crown Heights riots. I was a 9/11 first responder. I served this city with pride, as did my brother and sister police officers. To see what happened last year when our police officers were attacked, when our city was attacked, burned and looted, and our elected officials sat back and did nothing, and innocent people were injured and lost their livelihoods and lost their businesses and lost their homes, it pushed me. I could do two things: I can complain on social media and vent my frustration, or I can stand up and do something about it. And I am going to do something about it when I'm elected mayor, because public safety is the #1 issue. Without it, we have nothing here in New York City, and we're seeing that right now.
Well, Bill, as you know, you're going to have to make nice with whomever the governor might be of New York. Do you have someone specifically that you would enjoy working with on that level, on a state level?
Well, no matter who it is, the mayor has to work with the governor and vice versa. Because quite simply, if New York City is not thriving, if there is no New York City, there is no New York State. And whether that's Governor Cuomo or any of the people who have thrown their hat in the ring right now, we have to work together. Most importantly, New York City needs a mayor who will stand up to Albany to protect them, to keep them safe, not someone who's going to stand with the protesters as our current governor did last year as our city burned. It doesn't matter who's in office. I can work with them, but they're going to know that the mayor of New York City now stands up for the people of New York City.
Very lighthearted question for you. Andrew Yang was asked what is his favorite subway stop. He said Times Square. Do you have a favorite subway stop?
You know, he's not wrong on that. Times Square has always been my favorite subway stop. You know, growing up, Times Square, as we all know, was a cesspool, but under Mayor Giuliani's policies and the hard work of the NYPD, we turned it into Disneyland, the #1 tourist attraction in the country, and we're seeing it slide back the other way now. My policies will make it the #1 subway stop in New York City and the country once again.
All right, we'll leave it right there. Bill, I appreciate you answering that. Bill Pepitone joining us live. Thank you, sir.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.